my friends, welcome back to the MFT YouTube channel. I'm Karolyn and I'm skating by today to share an interactive project that I created using the Movin and Groovin dynamics and the Ice Princess stamp set. Did you see what I did there? The Movin and Groovin dynamics contain all of the dies that you'll need to create an interactive mechanism that allows the end of the pull tab to rotate as it travels through a rolling channel. I've done all of the stamping and coloring off camera so that we can focus mostly on the assembly of the mechanism. After I die cut all of the pieces of the mechanism from heavyweight cardstock, I need to adhere the two pull tabs and the two oval pieces together with tape runner adhesive. I've doubled them up to add some extra stability to the mechanism. Next, I've aligned the whole end of the pull tab with the embossed line on the oval piece, and I'll add a dot of liquid glue so that I can adhere a spin and slide disc. There's an embossed circle on the oval piece to show you exactly where the spin and slide disc should be adhered. And then I'll cap that off with another dot of glue and the half-inch circle. As I mentioned before, the end of the pull tab is designed to rotate, but I don't want it to rotate too much. So I'm adhering two thin strips of foam tape so that they are aligned with the flat end of the pull tab. Initially, I adhered the strips too close to the end of the pull tab, which kept the end from rotating enough for my liking. So I lifted the double layer of tape and positioned it about 1/16 of an inch from the end, which allowed for more movement. What I've discovered in playing with this mechanism is that if you have too much movement in the end of the pull tab, the oval gets caught up in the channel. So this is something to look out for when you're creating your own designs. I've stamped, colored, and die cut several of the images from the Ice Princess stamp set, including the skating images that I stamped onto a 4-inch by 5 1/4 inch light blue panel using white pigment ink and heat embossed with white embossing powder. I also trimmed a 2.5 inch by 5 inch piece of snowy pattern paper from the Christmas Cheer 6x6 paper pack that I'm adhering to the light blue panel with tape runner adhesive. And once I have that in place, I can position the rolling channel die from the Movin and Groovin dynamics. I want to hide the channel behind the snowdrifts, so I've positioned the die just above the pattern paper line and slightly to the left side of the panel. I'll secure the die in place with a piece of washi tape and I'll die cut that off camera. Once the channel's cut, I can attach the pull tab mechanism. I'll start by flipping the pull tab over and adding a dot of liquid glue to the embossed circle at the end of the oval. To that, I'll adhere another spin and slide disc with another dot of glue, and I'll wait a bit to let that dry. Then I'll position the spin and slide disc through the rolling channel from the back of the image panel, and I'll cap that off with another dot of glue and the second half-inch circle. I'm just adding a piece of washi tape to temporarily hold the pull tab in position while I cap off the spin and slide disc with the glue and the half-inch circle die cut. I gotta tell ya, the more I play with the Movin and Groovin dynamics, the more fun I have coming up with new applications for these dies. And I should mention that MFT has a slimline version of the exact same dies. Now I want to secure my pull tab in place so that it doesn't flop around when the mechanism is activated. So I've die cut what I call a collar from some text weight printer paper, and I'm folding it on the provided score lines. I'll secure the ends together with my liquid glue pen, and then I'll add more liquid glue and I'll slide it onto the end of the pull tab and secure it to the image panel. I know you've seen me do this a million times, but I also know that I learn better when I see things repeatedly, so I'm hoping that this helps you too. Now that the collar's secured in place, I can remove that washi tape, but I wasn't liking how floppy the pull tab was acting, and I was afraid it was going to jump the channel. So I trimmed a piece of 1/8 inch foam tape, and I secured that to the back of the panel, just below the pull tab, in the hopes that this would keep the pull tab perfectly aligned. It probably wasn't necessary, but I'm a believer in better safe than sorry. Next, I've trimmed a 1/2 inch strip of acetate, and I've adhered a piece of 1/4 inch double-sided tape to one end. I'll remove the liner paper from the double-sided tape, and I'll adhere it to the 1/2 inch circle that's sticking out of the rolling channel. This is what I'll eventually attach my skating Ice Princess to. But before I do that, I need to disguise the rolling channel with some snowdrifts that I created using the Stitch Snowdrifts dynamics. I've staggered them in size, and I'll adhere the shorter drift to the taller drift using tape runner adhesive. I've added some foam squares to the back of the snowdrifts so that I can adhere them to the image panel to cover the channel. But notice that I didn't place any foam squares at the bottom of the assembled drifts. My ice princess wouldn't be able to skate if foam squares were in her way. Once the snowdrifts are adhered to the image panel, I'll add a few foam squares to the acetate strip. But before I attach my ice princess, I want to make sure that these foam squares don't interfere with the movement of the mechanism. And with a quick tug on the pull tab, I can see that I can attach my ice princess without worry. I'll remove the liner paper from the foam squares, and I'll position my ice princess so that it looks like she's skating, and tilt it just slightly so that once assembled, my card will still fit inside an A2 envelope. I've adhered a double layer of foam squares to the back of the assembled image panel, and I'll attach that to an A2 horizontal top folding card base. The double layer of foam squares assures that the mechanism has enough room to maneuver freely. I trimmed off the excess acetate strip with my scissors. And now I can assemble the rest of my card. I'm adhering the castle to the snowdrifts using my tape runner adhesive. And I initially had the princess's foxy friend adhered with a foam square, but I found that he interfered with the ice princess's skating maneuvers. So I removed the foam square and re-adhered him to the snowdrifts with my tape runner. And by adding a few sparkling clear sequins and a sentiment strip using one of the sentiments from the Ice Princess stamp set, you can see that my wintry scene is complete. I had so much fun creating this adorable scene for you today, and I hope that you had just as much fun watching me. The Movin and Groovin dynamics are a blast to play with, so I hope you'll give them a try for yourself. Thanks so much for watching today. Be sure and subscribe to the MFT YouTube channel for more crafty goodness.